what the heck is going on at Visma? I mean, that's like your drain of talent has not been replaced by the riders that are coming up.
The opportunities at UAE, always a stacked squad, but when you have that many champions, that many talented riders, to actually seize the opportunity, create one and seize one where you actually are the one that's carrying the leader flag and going across the finish line first, that is not something to be taken for granted.
Maybe one of, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, worst tactical decisions in the finale. One team I've seen in a very long time that I can remember seeing. Hey everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Podium. The season is gotten underway with the National Time Trial Championships and road race in Australia. Tour Down Under about to start, and Simon Yates announcing his out of the blue retirement, all of that on Beyond the Podium's episode today. I'm joined by Brent Bookwalter. Brent, it's been a while. How's your winter going?
Bob Roll, it's great to see you, man. It's going good. I can't say I'm as insulated as you are through the winter, my man. You're still rocking Father Christmas. We're well past Christmas and into the new year, but I have the look, Bob, and I know that's treating you well out there on the slopes of Colorado. How's the snow out there right now?
We had a couple of storms that came out of nowhere, about a foot each. So this week's skiing is absolutely spectacular. It's going to be a great week of skiing. I've been getting after it. So my legs are tired and sore, so I'm having a day off so we can do Beyond the Podium. But yeah, going good.
I'm jealous, Bob. I'm so jealous. Our little ski hill, Catalucci, an hour away from us. I've been taking my son out, 5-year-old Waylon. He's been having a good time, but we had this string of super warm days the past week, pretty much melted all the snow. But I did turn up the webcam this morning, and the snow guns are on. It's cold again. They're raging, blowing snow. So not the mother nature, nice fluffy stuff like you guys have in the high mountains there. But I've been also getting out on the skis and enjoying teaching our son.
Well, any ice is nice.
That's right. We slide on.
I don't know about you, Brent, but when I heard this and saw this headline, it took me a while to digest what I was actually reading. And Simon Yates, just 33, not ancient by any stretch of the imagination, announced out of the blue his retirement. He's already said he's going to defend his title in the Giro. He's already been to the team camp in December. And now, just a few days ago, he's saying, by the way, everybody, peace out, mic drop, I'm done. Very strange announcement from the Visma squad and Simon Yates. That must have blindsided his teammates at the very least, Brent.
Yeah, Yates, he's always keeping us guessing. Bob, when I was teammates with Simon, gosh, you can't say enough good about the guy. The level of professionalism, the spanning of his Grand Tour wins that he had in his career, I think even showed that, winning the Vuelta a little earlier, the Giro last year. So much professionalism, but God, these Yateses, both of them, Adam, his brother, his twin brother, and Simon, they do march to the beat of their own drum a little bit. And as a teammate, I observed with both of them, they have a very deep, intrinsic, internal drive to succeed and push themselves to accomplish what they had. And it was also clear to see at different times of their career, the toggling and that flame going up into full flourish like it was at the Giro last year. And then it would get a little weak. And they found their way. They've had long careers over and over to get that flame burning again. And it's a surprising time to realize and recognize that flame is extinguished or no longer there. But I go back to when he won the Giro last year, his brother Adam actually said, "Oh, if I were him, that's it. I'm out." Like you said, mic drop, I'm out. So it took him a little longer to come to that decision than I imagine his team wanted. But at the same time, even, reading the comments of this team, reading between the lines, I read some frustration in there, probably some disappointment. But at the same time, that's what rules these performers at the end of the day. If you don't have that fire from within, it's not going to happen. I don't care how talented you are or how much they're paying you. So
Absolutely.
Unorthodox timing for sure. We don't often see this, and it does put that team in a precarious situation, having that void in the spot. But I would rather have that clarity now than take the paycheck. That's what many other performers in Simon Yates' situation historically would do. Just off the Giro, nice fat contract, another 12 months of collecting a payday. He could have ridden around, gotten paid, done his training, done his camps, and just kind of phoned in his results. But no, Simon Yates has more integrity than that. He decided ultimately that was not going to be him. It was all in or all out. And yeah, a little bit of an unorthodox time in terms of being all out, but we'll be sad to not see him in the races. And I'm wishing him the best. I sent him a message. Haven't heard back from him yet. Just congrats, and I'm grateful to have ridden with him as a teammate as well. Definitely a good leader to ride for.
Put yourself in the shoes of the Visma squad for a second. If it's me, and there's the transfer season, it probably starts around, for some riders a long time before it can be announced August 1st. So those weeks and months and races before that, teams are trying to look at their roster, see what they need. Why not tell the team then? I think that maybe there's some things we haven't heard about we will do, but as far as we know now, this has just come completely out of the blue. If I'm Visma, it'd be very upsetting. If I'm Jonas Vingegaard, like, wait a minute, one of my main guys in the mountains is done?
Yeah.
It's just, and where are you going to go now if you're Simon Yates?
It's a hit. It's a hit. And yeah, I think that is on Simon. Ultimately, he did leave those guys hanging. And like you said, this is all speculation. We don't know what was happening behind the scenes. Maybe there's family planning, family evolution, different things at stake that we can't see. I like to think that heart to heart, that deep introspective conversation that Simon has with himself and even Jonas as a leader, if he is relying on Simon that heavily, that team is factoring him in that role. That conversation ideally needed to happen back in October, November, December. So I don't know. I'm not in that team. I don't know if that conversation happened. If it did, it is a massive swing of heart. That is surprising. And he leaves him in a bit of a tough spot. You cannot go out onto the transfer market in the month of January and say, I'm going to grab a Grand Tour winner and Simon Yates and plug him into the squad. It's just not going to happen. But that team's also stacked. They still have, plenty of riders to step into that role and fill it. Not Simon Yates caliber necessarily, but I don't think that is going to be the differentiator when we talk about them having a successful season or not.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Hold me to it. Hold me to it.
One other thing about Visma, and not to be a conspiracy theorist or get too nefarious about things, but Olaf Koy, Kian Uijtebroeks is gone, Dylan van Baarle, Tish Benoot, Attila Valter. Like, what the heck is going on at Visma? I mean, that's like your drain of talent has not been replaced by the riders that are coming up. Matt Brennan, new star on the horizon they've signed. He's going to be a big winner in the years to come. But that's an inexplicable drain of talent on one team in just a small period of time. Is there something going on at Visma that we don't know about? And maybe Simon Yates' retirement is a part of that.
It very well could be. Yeah. As I think about my time with Simon, his interaction with his trainers, the directors, I think those relationships do play a big role in a rider's psyche and their confidence and their enjoyment of the sport. And it does on the outside, it does look at like interesting times at Visma. When we talk to them, when they're really good at their media game, their PR, their press communication game, it's always positive. They're always quite eloquent, but this sort of frustration or inability for them to convert with Jonas Vingegaard in the Tour de France in recent years, it does seem to be bubbling up with a little bit of that turnover, that changeover that we don't see in a program where everything is going right and they're doubling down on what they have. They're definitely going down to the foundation and breaking things up, likely with the hopes that that's going to turn into success with their main man Jonas Vingegaard. I think if I'm in the upper management of that team right now, I'm probably feeling a little uneasy and a little nervous about, we lost a big stack of guys. We got some new unknown quantities coming in. And obviously, like, time will tell. We're not going to know. We're going to get into racing here very soon. Next week, we're going to see the team already towing the line at the Tour Down Under. We'll see the vibe that they're putting off and how that team is uniting, and we're going to see these new riders being tested as well. What an opportunity for a new rider in that squad to come in and really prove themselves with the resources that we know are still world class in terms of a competitive performance environment.
Well, I looked at the roster. with the loss of Simon Yates and the other riders we just mentioned, and I thought about like who's going to be on the tour team. And one of the new riders, Bruno Amarai, French rider, French time trialing star, and national champion, could be a big asset, especially on the long stages that are hilly, where you really need a teammate. So, like you said, Brent, not the end of the world. They have another group of young riders, not well known, but I'm sure they're plenty talented. If we take a gander at some of these riders, Louis Barret could be a strong rider. Bruno Amarai, before mentioned, Pignazzoli, Fiorello, Timo Kilic, and a couple of other guys. So, like you said, not the end of the world, but I'm going to say that gives the advantage to Tadej Pogacar in the Tour de France over Jonas Vingegaard right off just here early January.
As if he needed an advantage. Yeah, Tadej's sitting back amused by the musical chairs and the shuffling that's being played at Visma Lease bike. But I think if we're going to talk about, who they're gaining, who they're losing, let's also look at who they're keeping. Our countrymen, Matteo Jorgensen, Sepp Kuss, two of the best Americans that are also best riders in the world, still world-class talents, the best of the best on their own, even more so when they're deployed in that domestique, super domestique teammate role. So, as an American fan, I still look at those guys and I think, whoo, they're rolling deep in support still.
Absolutely agree with that. All right, let's move on to the Australian Road Racing and Time Trial Championships. Jay Vine said, the UAE star, late last year, early this year, that he's going to come into the season much more fit, much more ready to go. He had a great Vuelta a España. One thing I will say, a lot of times in my career, when I finished strongly, I started the next season really strongly. So maybe we're seeing that from Jay Vine, and he smoked the field in the time trial.
Yeah, what a way to come out for Jay Vine. And I think I loved what I read in his post-race quotes about his focus being on speed, and not just being so rigid on the power. We talk so much about the power meters and the watts and the aerodynamics. Like, to hear a rider who's come through the off season and just kind of got back to the basics of focusing on going fast, letting go of the power. And then he also mentioned riding off feel probably more than he ever had. He said the past 12 months have been a lot about reestablishing his relationship with feel, the pacing. This is a trumpeting announcement for all the young and junior riders out there of don't lose touch with that feel. It's awesome to see Jay Vine come away with the Aussie title and do it in that inspired, artful way of actually getting back to feeling the pedals. But call it what you want, power, feel, whatever it is, like, the dude is flying. He perfected the Australian summer good form peak, which is easier said than done. All these guys, we got to remember, they're residents of Europe. Their lives are pretty much in Europe. So to go back to Australia, it's an advantage for the Australian riders. They get to go back home and be in warm weather in the summer, but they're all doing it. And it's heated, it's intense. It's a lot of sacrifice in a time of year when everyone's kind of on holidays. Everyone's having Christmas and a couple extra Christmas cookies. You're razoring down like Jay Vine to win the Aussie TT title. You're turning a lot of cookies down and a lot of those holiday party invites down. But what a converting of the goods for Jay Vine. And I think we're going to get into the road race here, but I think his dominance in the time trial was even influential in the road race, a really exciting road race that we ended up with.
Exciting for the fan. For fans of the winner, but if you're a Jayco fan or you're on the team, maybe one of, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, worst tactical decisions in the finale from one team I've seen in a very long time that I can remember seeing. Jayco, a lot of pressure. Let's be real. You race for them and we'll get to that in a little bit, the Tour Down Under, but the national road racing title is huge for the Jayco squad, and to squander that must have been very disappointing. In case you didn't see that, big breakaway containing some strong riders, including the defending champion Luke Durbridge. The peloton was never so far away, but a lot of times in smaller fields, an early breakaway has a huge advantage. Eventually, the peloton did make contact, but not until Luke Durbridge was solo off the front and had about a minute and a half lead with inside of 20 kilometers to go. And the counter moves, there were a number of them, but those also seemed to favor the Jayco squad. They put Luke Plapp and Ben O'Connor in the counter moves. And about 5Ks to go, it completely disintegrated. And we saw Luke Plapp with a rival team on his wheel chasing Luke Durbridge. We didn't see very often from the coverage that I saw the group behind, which was Ben O'Connor was chasing with the eventual winner of the race. And so it all sort of came together for a moment. But the way Luke Plapp rode, I think, he won the time trial championships last year. So he had a disappointing loss to Jay Vine. So his motivation might have gotten a little bit ahead of the team tactics, and he seemed to be racing for himself. And if I was Luke Durbridge, I'd be rather upset with the way the team approached the finale.
Oh my gosh, Bob. What do you even say? What was that? Oh, Luke Platt.
Disaster.
that was total disaster. I'm still almost just speechless, scratching my head of what I saw there. I mean, we talk about textbook bicycle racing, using your teammates. That was essentially the opposite. That was, I'd argue like negligence as a teammate. That was just atrocious riding from Plapp. Jayco Alula had ridden a very strong race, worked a lot. Like remember, they do have the best team in the field, hands down. Yeah. This is not uncharted territory for them. That's always like this. They're always the favorites to win. It's hard in sport to win when you are the favorite, when you are the defending champ, when everyone's gunning for you. Everyone's throwing everything they can at you. And they, more times than not, they do deliver that with a combination of strength, with a combination of tactical savvy, strategy, ability, history, experience. And it all fell apart yesterday, especially in those last 10 kilometers. When I flicked that on and I was watching the recap, I could not believe what I was seeing with Luke Durbridge out in front. Even the commentators that were commentating live with around 10K to go thought, oh, he almost has to have this for sure. To see not only him fall apart, but then his teammates to not utilize the numbers advantage that they had and really just waste the opportunity of him being up there in a productive role as a teammate was hard to watch and frustrating. I cannot imagine the mood in that bus. It's going to be an interesting backup to Tour Down Under for those guys, and definitely a lot of unfinished business. Jayco Alula coming away with goose egg, no time trial win, no road race win, and it's not just that they lost the road race, it's how they lost it. The riding from Luke Plapp is such a head scratcher, and I won't pretend to understand, Bob. I think ouch. Yeah, failure.
So Matt Heyman was in the car, experienced professional. I think he was pro for 16, 17 years, has had a lot of success guiding the riders now. What sort of conversations do you imagine him having? He had plenty of time to talk to him, radio or not, throughout the day. Ben O'Connor in the breakaway with Luke Durbridge, and two of the strongest riders in the race. And just like to see it all disintegrate, it must have been incredibly heart-wrenching.
Absolutely.
For them and all the fans of the Jayco team.
It is true, Bob. Like there, as far as I know and remember, there are no radios at the Australian Championships. So it is true. You have to put that context into that. When Durbridge's gap is when Luke's gap is coming down, he is not getting that instant info in his ear. Plapp, Ben O'Connor, they're not having those instant, live, immediate, constant time gaps. But these guys, they're professionals also. They have a high level of awareness. They know what's happening. They've also felt the race in their legs. And I think I agree with you, Bob, on the sort of frustration from Plapp not being able to convert the time trial ride that he did last year. There was a hunger in there, or almost a greed of, and really this line between confidence and sort of arrogance. I think we saw that a little bit too. He was steadfast in his commitment and conviction that he could drop and get rid of Patrick Eddy on that last rise before the finish, and
Right.
he was really close. But to
Yeah.
to have the setup they did and see that he genuinely was just trying to ride Patrick Eddy off the wheel, it wasn't a tactical all-in calculated move, come from behind, really make Patrick Eddy work, make him wear him out. I just never saw it. And that's really what's frustrating. If you go all in and you can't drop your best competitor, then that's what it is. That's sport. There was a better guy on the day, but I don't believe that Patrick Eddy was better than that team or those riders necessarily as a whole. Not to take anything away from him. Wow, talk about a mentally tough ride from Patrick Eddy to keep himself in the game up against the Goliath of Jacob Alula. They were outnumbered 3-2 in the final there, and to just keep coming back and believing in himself, hold the wheel of Luke Plapp when he is going for broke, pouring it all on. Such a well-deserved win, but just heartache, gut-wrenching frustration for Jacob Alula. And Heyman, yeah, I'm trying to think my experience with him as the director as well. He doesn't really get mad. He doesn't yell and shout and scream, but he does show his disappointment. And I can't imagine there was really anything to even be said after that race. There's the actions are going to have to speak louder than the words as they quickly try to rebound for the race next week.
Maybe a little extra incentive and motivation for Patrick Eddy was being left off the roster of his previous World Tour team, Picnic Post NL. Maybe there's an opening at Visa, so we might see the Australian champion going onto the Visma squad in the days and weeks to come before the season starts. He's looking for a job, so why not take Patrick Eddy? What a ride that was.
What a score. And yeah, now with the Aussie champ jersey to wear for the whole season, what an honor and what a way to come back. That's a good point, Bob. Team Brennan is a little different than the World Tour team of Team Picnic. And yeah, what a resurgence and what resilience to come back and start off the season in this way and really throw his name to the top of the cycling world. This is how we're starting the season, and we're starting it with Patrick Eddy. I did not expect that. I'll be honest.
I agree with you there. Let's move on to the Tour Down Under, the first big race of the season, coming up on Peacock in just a few days. The women's and the men's Tour Down Under will be featured throughout both of those races. The men's defending champion is coming back, Jonathan Narvaez from the UAE squad. The first of the many races they won throughout the year. And just correct me if I'm wrong, for Narvaez, probably looked at all the races he was going to do. He was hired to do those type of accelerations very few pros can do to launch Tadej Pogačar. So when he saw it was his chance to go for a win, he most certainly took maximum advantage out of that in last year's Tour Down Under.
Yeah, what a way to seize the day for Narvaez last year at Tour Down Under. And yeah, the opportunities at UAE, always a stacked squad, but when you have that many champions, that many talented riders, to actually seize the opportunity, create one and seize one where you actually are the one that's carrying the leader flag and going across the finish line first. That is not something to be taken for granted, and it doesn't come along very often. They win with so many different riders, and it is a course traditionally Tour Down Under that suits that profile of rider, like you said with Narvaez. Very there's no big mountains in the Adelaide Hills, but it's not flat either. We're talking over 3,000 meters of climbing on some of these stages. The always decisive finish line up on Wollonga Hill definitely takes someone who can climb, but also still has that kick and that punch and that power. And Narvaez, yeah, so well suited for that. I think he'll definitely be back in the mix. You can never count that team out, even if they're not firing on their Tour de France squad that they're going to have behind Tadej all year. That is a squad to be reckoned with. And I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Jacob Alula traditionally also like always contenders. We've seen them win Tour Down Under in so many different ways. They've won it on the climb of Wollonga Hill. They've won it with time bonuses. They won it sprinting with Daryl Impey in the bunch sprints and on the climbs and at the intermediates. So it's a really exciting race for that reason, in that the time gaps are quite tight. The time bonuses do come into play. There's a lot of positioning, and we have this. Yeah, it's the unknown of the first race of the cycling season. It's as clean of a slate as ever, fresh start, and yeah, really excited to see what's possible.
Well, let me ask you this, Brent, because you've done it before. It seems like it's in January, and to give the peloton a bit of a break, the stages seem to used to be a lot more reasonable than this year's edition. Prologue time trial, then 5 stages. It looks to be the toughest race course, especially stages 2 through 4, and stage 4, Wollonga Hill, 3 times up that. It seems about as hard as every other 1 week stage race on the calendar, and it's January.
They just keep the ratchet just keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter on these guys. I remember I did Tour Down Under back in 2013, and there was already talk then of my teammates who had done it many times before saying it's not what it used to be. You got to really be in shape. You got to show up sharp. But even I look at how I performed in that edition of the Tour Down Under with the training I did. I was strong that year. I was working for Cadell. We almost won the race with Cadell Evans. He was second overall, lost it on Wollonga Hill on the last day. I was surfing around the top 10 myself. So very fit and capable. And I did that with no training camps. I basically just trained at home really hard through the winter, did a little motor pacing and showed up ready. I think that is not even going to cut it anymore to be up in the Players Club and at the pointy end at the Tour Down Under. It's real high level, essentially peak form in January. And then it's not just fast racing; it is the demanding courses too. The corkscrew stage that we're going to see on day 3, stage 2. That stage has over 3,000 meters of climbing, all accumulated through these jagged 2 to 3 kilometer up down. Couple longer climbs in that 5 to 8 kilometer range, but it's kind of a rude awakening. You got the heat also. Almost all the riders except for the Australians and Kiwis coming from the northern hemisphere. It's been cold. I remember the pre-ride training down in Tour Down Under. It's enjoyable. It's pleasant. It's so nice to go down there and peel out the pasty legs and take the shorts off and get the sunscreen out. But you start racing full gas for 4 hours in that heat without being acclimated. Oh, it takes it out of you quick. So the race organizers just keep wanting to shelf on more and more and more. And I think they said this is one of the hardest Tour Down Under courses. I think they say that every year now. They just keep looking for ways to reposition things and change them. But one of the things that stands out to me this year is the final stage typically is Wollonga. It's also been a criterium or circuit race before. This year it is the circuit around Stirling. And that we've seen many Tour Down Under finishes at Stirling. It's an exciting race. It sort of leaves us on the edge of our seat. It's like just hard enough that things start to break apart, but it's not quite hard enough that a really fit, capable sprinter isn't going to believe and dream that he's there. Usually that's then stage 2, stage 3, middle of the race. So there's a lot more patient tactic. The time bonuses are being played out from the GC teams. I'm really excited to see how things are settled after Wollonga Hill. Hopefully we have some tight time gaps in that Stirling circuit. It's not just the rise to the line. You go over that line and the technical roads, the crashes that I saw everywhere when I was racing there the year I did, it is really intense, exciting racing. So definitely poised for a nail biter all the way down to that final finish line in Stirling on the last day.
I'm looking at a big showdown between UAE and Jayco. Jayco, a lot of pressure. They're bringing their A squad, by the way. Their best riders are coming to the Tour Down Under, including Ben O'Connor. I imagine they race for him because of how hilly it is. But UAE, Jay Vine, Adam Yates, and the defending champ, Jonathan Narvaez, that's going to be a tough squad for them to beat, in my estimation. And there's a few other riders. Buitrago, Jack Haig is going to do it. But I think somebody from one of those two teams is probably the overall winner.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the UAE is definitely in the driver's seat, not just with Navarre as the defending champ, but like you said, Adam Yates, Jay Vine. Jay Vine also, we'll talk about Ben O'Connor sort of matching up with Jay Vine in terms of a climb on this Tour Down Under course. The way Jay was riding in the time trial, the early form, and having that feel for his effort in the race, definitely a strong candidate. You mentioned Jack Haig and Lucas Hamilton, both Australians. They made the big offseason move and transfer over to Ineos Grenadiers team. I'm interested to see how they go. I think, new colors for them. New team for Jack Haig and a chance to lead in his home country. We have not seen. I'm trying to think if I've seen Jack Haig at the Tour Down Under. It's been a long time. if he's raced there at all. So that's an exciting one I'm watching. I think also Team NSN also stacked with Southern Hemisphere riders who's found success at Tour Down Under before. Remember our colleague Sam Bewley from a couple of years back, now working for that team as a director, and talking the year we worked with them, they actually won the Tour Down Under. Riders like George Bennett, Simon Clark, Nick Schultz, Corbin Strong, all traditionally good at coming out hot first race of the year in Tour Down Under. So I think they're another team that'll be in the mix and keep things interesting for us.
I think it's going to be a great opening race to what is promising to be a spectacular 2026. Women's race, everybody, starts on the 16th, men on the 20th on Peacock. And I cannot wait to start this season. It's been a long hibernation. I got to be honest, had a little bit of cabin fever, and it didn't sneak up on me this year. I was ready for the season to start and can't wait for the Tour Down Under.
I'm psyched for it too, Bob. I didn't even ask you. Tour Down Under, this didn't exist in your career. Did you ever race in Australia? Did you ever get brought down to the Southern Hemisphere for some sunny winter days?
No, they only had two cyclists from Australia, Alan Piper and Phil Anderson. There's some others. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that whole thing is pretty new to professional cycling, but it's definitely taken hold. They found the right time of the year, maybe most importantly, to have a sustainable event. And it's just been an absolute spectacular boon for the country of Australia and cycle racing in general. And I think the Tour Down Under has helped them have so many good pros in the professional peloton nowadays.
Yeah. It's a good time of year to be in Australia. I remember the vibe and the mood being great. We're the BMT racing team. When I went to Tour Down Under, we were fighting for those spots. Actually, it was a privilege to go down, take some energy from the Aussie summer, and have a chance to tune up the race legs in some nice warm conditions where everyone's on their summer holidays. It's a lot different mood than the sort of cultural vibe that's going on in Belgium and Northern Europe at the moment. So
yes.
Yeah, nice chance to take that. I think if I had to take my pick right now, Bob, I'd rather be out on the slopes with you than down sweating it out in Australia. But either one of them would be just fine in terms of how we're getting through the winter. So I'm excited to see it. Still history to be played. I believe Phil Liggett's going to be on the call at Tour Down Under. So Phil rolling us out for another cycling season. For anyone wondering, Phil is going to be back with us, and I'm ready to tune in too, Bob. But we've done enough of these Beyond the Podiums now through the off season, through the sleepy hibernation of the cycling season that, no more speculation, no more hype, no more retiring this, not getting signed that. We got the meat of the racing sandwich to bite into right now. Tour Down Under. I'm ready for it. You got me pumped up after this one, Bob.
And the rumors of Phil Liggett's retirement are not true. He's going to be there. So.
Never.
Great opening start. Thanks a million, Brent. I'll see you soon. And thanks, everybody, for joining us on Beyond the Podium.
For all your cycling content year-round, subscribe to NBC Sports YouTube page. We got it all.